Hello and welcome back to Helldivers, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite weapons in Helldivers. And for this, I have my trusty tier list here, where we have, well, all of our different categories. At the very bottom, we have those Super Earth Shame weapons that I don't really like, weapons I don't really use all that much. I do use pretty much all of the weapons in this game, because I like using random builds, though. But these ones are probably like my least favorite. C tier, which are ones that I don't really have a strong opinion about one way or the other. They're usually just fine. Trusty tools above that. Ones that can be pretty good, that I generally like, but maybe have a little bit of a flaw here or there. We have the battle-tested beauties, the ones that I usually really enjoy, and then we have the Super Earth's Finest, probably my favorite weapons amongst all of them. So this is going to be a completely subjective video. There is nothing besides my opinion here. Tell me your thoughts, though. I would love to hear them about these weapons, because a lot of the weapons in Helldivers 2 are pretty good. And first up, we have our trusty Liberator, and the Liberator is probably going to go to the trusty tools. I don't really have a problem with the Liberator. It's a decent starting weapon. It does okay damage, pretty decent damage per second. It's got a lot of cool modifications for it. Whenever I get this in like a random build, I'm like, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. It'll work against everything. It's just a fine weapon overall. Not my favorite, but I do kind of like the way this one looks. It looks very much like a Tavor, which I'm a fan of. So, I mean, it does have the looks going for it, and it's an okay weapon. Up next, we have the Liberator Penetrator. This one's got medium armor pen, and for me personally, I would probably put this one into like the C tier. And mostly it's just that the other medium armor pen assault rifles are like more than this, generally speaking. It's fine. It's still okay. I don't hate this by any means. It is very similar to the regular Liberator, just with less damage, but better armor pen. So that is kind of a bonus to it. But yeah, it's just the other assault rifles are like a little bit more for like the same job. Then we have the Liberator Concussive. This one's going to go to the Super Earth Shame. This one is not one of my favorite guns in the game. I'm usually not looking forward to this whenever I get it in a random build. This always feels awkward. It always feels very sluggish to me. Mostly it's just the rate of fire. If this thing had, let's say, like 100 more rate of fire, I think it would be okay then. I don't think I'd mind it as much at that point. Its damage is actually pretty decent, and having like the knockback effects on it is kind of cool, or at least it's a kind of cool idea, but I'd rather just have an assault rifle that actually kills stuff and kills stuff quickly. This just doesn't really do it for me. Then we got the Halo Assault Rifle, and this one I'd probably put up in the battle-tested beauties. I do like the Halo Assault Rifle overall. It's got a really satisfying sound to it. You can't customize it, which is kind of a bummer, and it did get out-competed by the Coyote like pretty much immediately once it came out. Within a week, it was already kind of out-competed in that regard. Not to say this is unusable or anything. It's still perfectly fine. It works well against just about everything. It is a cool throwback to the first Halo games, and it's very reminiscent of them, so I do really appreciate that. Then we've got the Coyote, and the Coyote is probably going to go up into Super Earth's Finest. Ever since this came out, this has been pretty much my go-to assault rifle. I really like the way that it's felt. The incendiary rounds on it are really good. Medium armor pen with decent damage and a 45 round magazine is really good. You can put like a vertical foregrip and a compensator on this, and it has like no recoil. The iron sights I actually like quite a bit with this too, because they're so low profile, so that's really nice. Like, it's just a really solid assault rifle. It feels really good to use, and it's really strong at the moment. Then we have the Liberator Carbine. This one is definitely my favorite of the Liberators. I would say this one's probably also Super Earth's Finest. I really like this, especially if you put the drum mag and then like either the flash height or the compensator and like the vertical foregrip on this. Not always the strongest assault rifle, but it's really good for the crowds. It is nicknamed the Stalwart for a reason, and I do like the Stalwart machine gun a lot. So that certainly helps with this. This is just a cool little primary weapon that you can just spray down so many things with, and it pairs really well with any like secondary or special weapons, so really do enjoy that. Next up, we have the Adjudicator. I would say this one's probably also into the battle-tested beauties. The only kind of downside to this one is the magazine size. Everything else is really good about it. I guess the recoil is kind of bad too, and until you put like the compensator or the flash hider and like the vertical grip on it, then it's pretty manageable. Medium armor pen with high damage is good. 30 round magazine, sometimes you go through it a little bit quick, but it does put down things pretty efficiently. Looks a little bit weird. I know not everybody likes the looks of this because it looks kind of like a fish, which, yeah, I mean, it does. There's actually quite a few assault rifles in real life that kind of have the same profile, or at least prototypes that have this same profile to them. And it is kind of a weird thing to see. Then we have the Pacifier. This one is probably also going to go into Super Earth Shame. I mean, I like the look of this one a lot more than the Concussive, but it feels very similar to the Concussive for me, where it's kind of awkward. The medium armor pen, if I have a need for that, Again, I find like the Adjudicator, the Halo Assault Rifle to be better. Even the like Liberator Penetrator I like a little bit more than this one. The stunning effect is kind of cool on it. It's not really for me. Again, the look is pretty cool. It looks like an AK-5, which I can appreciate, but everything else about it is just kind of weird. Then we have the Killzone Assault Rifle. This one's also going to go into Super Earth Shame. It hasn't came back around. It was only up for a limited amount of time. I have gotten to use this one the least out of any of the assault rifles, and whenever I talk about this, it's just been so long since I actually used it, and I don't really want to bother friends to actually like get footage for me using this for videos and stuff. So if it came back around, it'd probably be higher up, because honestly I don't really remember disliking this one. I thought it was an okay one, so if I did have it, it'd probably go up into Trusty Tools, but since I don't have it, it has to go to the bottom. And then we have the Tenderizer, the Starship Trooper Assault Rifle. This one I'd probably also go up into the Battle Tested Beauties. I do like this one overall. It's got good damage, it's got good damage per second. I like that you can adjust the rate of fire on this. It's pretty accurate. It doesn't really have that much recoil, and you can make it so it has even less recoil, as well as has good ergonomics too. Only real downside with this one is like the magazine. If it could get like extended mags, that would be pretty cool, or a drum mag, that would be pretty awesome, but otherwise it's a really good gun. I do like it. Then we move on to the battle rifles, where first up we've got our trusty Constitution. I think I'm gonna have to put this one in the Trusty Tools as well. I do really like the Constitution. It was the first marksman's rifle that I ever maxed out, which is pretty funny. Even though it's only for skins, sadly it doesn't have any weapon customization. I really wish it would get some. The 1903 Springfield that it's based off of is really cool. That is a really cool rifle in general. Having a bayonet on here is pretty fun. This is pretty satisfying to one-tap medium bots with as well. If this thing had like stripper clips and I could put a scope on it, and maybe it had a couple other things, like a couple different bayonets that I could put on this, I think I would like it a whole lot more. As is, though, it's an okay rifle, but it is kind of frustrating when you get this in like random loadouts and you're fighting like bugs or something, where it's like, okay, well, the spear part is okay and the rifle can kind of kill stuff, but I'm only really excited when I get this for like bot missions. The other two factions are a little bit more difficult to use it against. Then we have the Amendment. The Amendment I'd probably put up into the Battle Tested Beauties. I do like the Amendment overall. It's a pretty cool rifle. It's got really good DPS. It just looks really cool in general. It kind of reminds me almost of like a Mondragon rifle, at least with the bolt, and then like sort of like an FG42 magazine loaded into it, which is kind of cool. I do really like this. Good damage per second. It also has a bayonet, so you can stab stuff with it. Overall, just a really cool rifle. Then we have the Deadeye, the lever action. This one has to go up into Super Earth's Finest. This one is my favorite battle rifle out of all of them. It's really cool. It does good damage. It's very satisfying to fire this. It's very satisfying to like ADS with this thing. I like the reload to it. I mean, it's a lever action rifle. I really like lever action rifles. This thing also hits like a truck, where you can knock off the heads of like overseers, kill medium bots, do quite a lot of damage. It's just a really cool rifle. Then we have the Diligence Counter Sniper. This one I'd probably also put it in the Battle Tested Beauties, and I'd probably also put the regular Diligence up there too. In my opinion, they're both fairly similar to one another. The Diligence Counter Sniper is just more consistent with its shots, since you have medium armor pen and a little bit more damage. But the Diligence, the standard one, has a bigger magazine. You can spam fire it faster. So if you are going for like the headshots, if you're going for weak spots, it is pretty satisfying. It's really pretty good on just about everything. Like, both these rifles are very solid marksman's rifles if you just want to do some damage to stuff. Next, we got the Plasma Killzone Sniper Rifle thing. This one also is going to go into the Super Earth Shame. Honestly, I don't necessarily dislike this one on bot missions, but it's just so awkward to be using on squid and on bug missions. It is better if you take like Siege Ready armor, which does make it a little bit more nice thanks to the faster reload speed and the extra ammo that you get, but it's such an awkward weapon to like build a full loadout around, where it's like you really have to build to it. And if you take like, let's say, a resupply backpack, a decent special weapon, and a good secondary weapon, it can function pretty well. It's just that like in random loadouts, that's not always the case. And when you're relying on this to kill stuff and you're not fighting the bots, it is kind of awkward overall. So not really my favorite. Cool looking rifle though, and the idea of it's kind of cool. I do like the 3-round burst option, but I wish it had like a bigger explosion radius or some way to set it to like semi-auto. I'm not sure if that's how it worked in the Killzone games though, so I'm not sure how well they're like keeping to the game. Then we have the Defender Submachine Gun. This one I'd probably also just put into like the trusty. It's a fine submachine gun. I've never really liked the Defender all that much. I've never really hated it though either. It's always felt okay. It does look a little bit cursed to me because it kind of looks like a more square like Sten gun. but I mean, that's fine. It has no recoil, which is kind of cool. Although it makes it so, like, almost all of its modding options don't really matter. Like, putting either, like, max ergonomics on this is kind of cool to have, like, over 100 ergonomics, but already has really high ergonomics. And then setting it to, like, the max amount of recoil reduction, it already doesn't have any recoil. So it feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity there with, like, the weapon customizations. It would be kind of cool if this one could get some other options. Then we have the Knight, the P90. This one I'd probably also put up in Super Earth's Finest. I do like this one a lot. This one's one of my favorite submachine guns. It probably actually is my favorite submachine gun overall. The big magazine on it's really cool. Again, if you put like the flash hider and like the vertical foregrip on this, it has like no recoil. You can just spray down absolutely anything. You do run through ammo with it pretty quick though if you're doing that. You only get like 5 total magazines, and you can blow through that ammo pretty fast if you want to be using it like that. But it is like one-handed. It's kind of cool to take with a shield, and it's fun to run around and just spray stuff with this. Then we have the Pummeler. This one I'm going to say is like C tier for me. In certain situations I think it's good, but in others it just feels awkward to me. The slower rate of fire is fine. It has like no recoil either. If you take it with a shield and you take it on like bot missions, I find it's pretty decent, and it's pretty okay on like bug and squid missions too for just beating up on certain other enemies. Like flesh mobs you can kind of stun so long as they're not enraged, and then other teammates can take them out. Same thing kind of goes with the bugs, especially if other people are bringing like fire. It's kind of cool then, but it's not really one of my favorite weapons. Then we've got the Halo submachine gun. This one I would say is like trusty tools as well. It's fine. I like that there's a suppressed submachine gun in it. That's what kind of pushes it out of C tier for me. Very similar to like the Bison, which will be upcoming, and I don't really care for that one as much. It's okay though, but if I'm going to be running this sort of like submachine gun with a high rate of fire and a decent magazine size, I'd rather just take the Knight. I find the Knight's just a little bit better. I can just spray that one out a little bit more. Then we have the Reprimand. Reprimand I'd probably also put up into the battle-tested beauties. It is basically an assault rifle since it's not one-handed like the other submachine guns, and it has assault rifle like level damage. The main downside to this one is the magazine. If this one could get like extended mags, drum mags, or like fast swap mags or something like that, quick detach mags, whatever you want to call them, this one would be a whole lot better because the damage is really good from it. The DPS is really good from it. It does have a lot of recoil, but once you put the vertical grip and like the compensator on here, it's not that bad. It's pretty easy to keep on target. Rate of fire is a little bit slow, but that's fine. I also just really like the basic color scheme to this with like the gray, the red, and the black. Looks really cool. It also looks sort of fish-like, but I'm more okay with this because it also more reminds me of like an M45, which I do like. Then we got the Bison, the Killzone submachine gun. This is going to be like a C tier. I don't really have much to say about this one. Like, it's cool that we have a Bison in the game, but it feels very similar to like the Halo SMG. It's just we don't have a suppressor on it. Yes, you can spray out rounds pretty fast, but I'd rather take the P90 if I just really want to spray rounds out quickly. The model's pretty good though, so there is that. The sights on this one are a little bit weird too. The iron sights have always been kind of strange to me. Then we move on to the shotguns. First up, we got the Punisher. Punisher is, for me, probably actually going to go up into Super Earth's Finest. I really like the Punisher. It feels really good to me. I like pump action shotguns in general, and the Punisher has just always felt solid for picking off things at close range, specifically against the bugs and the squids. Like killing the voteless in one shot or killing all the small bugs does feel really good, and the stagger it has is really nice too, especially if you get like stalkers, you can just bully them with the Punisher, so I do really like that. Slugger, I would probably put into the tier lower. Slugger's not as fun as the Punisher in my opinion, and I think it's just because of the more long range that I'm shooting it at and kind of the speed of the slug. It does hit really hard. It's really good on like bot missions because you can one-shot the medium bots. You can do pretty well against the bugs too, especially like the armored ones. And it's okay against the squids as well since you can like knock the heads off of the overseers. Maybe not the best for that. I'd still rather have like the lever action for that same sort of job, but the rate of fire on this is pretty good. And you can spam it out fairly quick, even though it is still like a pump action. Cookout, I would probably also put in Super Earth's Finest. This is one of my favorite shotguns. It's even better against bugs and squids than like the Punisher. Still kind of okay against bots. The fire is pretty nice, but mostly you're using this just to kind of cover an area, and I do like that it still has knockback on it, so that's really good. The Halts, I would probably also put up into the battle-tested beauties. This one, the only kind of problem I have with it is remembering to swap back and forth between flechettes and flashbangs, and sometimes leaving them on one or the other when I don't really want that when I'm engaging in a fight. So this one is really good, but it just kind of makes me think more than I would like, I guess is a way to put it. It's a really good shotgun though. The flashbangs are really nice for stunning stuff, and the flechettes do give you long range, as well as medium armor pen, which is good. And then we've got the Halo shotgun. This one I'd probably also put up in the battle tested beauties. The only problem I have with this shotgun is the slower reload time. Well, the smaller magazine really, with only holding 6. This one does hit like a truck though, and it does consistently one-shot stuff. It does feel pretty nice. I've always liked the shotgun in Halo. It's always felt good to me, so yeah, it's just a really good weapon. Then we got the Breaker. Breaker I'd probably put into like the trusty tools. I've never really felt all that strongly about the Breaker one way or the other. I pretty much always thought it's an okay shotgun. I've always liked the Punisher more than it because of the knockback and the more damage per shot. But spamming this out at certain enemies does feel pretty good, and it does have a lot of customizations now, which is nice, so there's not really too much to complain about. The Breaker Incendiary, I think I'd also put into the C tier. I'm not a huge fan of this shotgun. I haven't really been at any point, honestly. I've always kind of liked the Punisher better, and I really like the Cookout more than this one. Yes, spraying this out into crowds can feel pretty satisfying, specifically with like the bugs and sometimes the voteless crowds. But you just run through ammo so quickly with it, especially since they nerfed it. Even before that, I still felt like you ran through ammo fairly quick with it, and I didn't really like it that much. It was probably my least favorite of the Breakers. Well, actually, the Spray and Pray was my least favorite until they made it so you could put different muzzle attachments to it. Then I liked it quite a bit more. And the Spray and Pray I'd probably also put up into the trusty tools. This one does feel a whole lot better. I do like it with the short mags with Siege Ready Armor, which is the super fast reload and it holding like 16 shots or something. And then putting like the half choke on this, it actually feels pretty good then. You can spam down enemies and then just like constantly use it against basically everything. It feels kind of nice. It's not the strongest shotgun by any means, which is why I wouldn't really put it any higher than this. It doesn't feel as satisfying as some of the other ones, but it is a fun weapon now, so I do like that. Then we have the crossbow. Crossbow's probably going to go up into Super Earth's Finest too. I really like the crossbow. Crossbow's really strong in general. It hits like a truck. You can close up bug tunnels with it. You can close up bot factories with it. The only kind of problem with the crossbow is that its customizations sort of suck because they don't really change it that much. It's just, it already has an amazing sight on it, and that's the only thing you can change. If you got different like arrows with this, I think it'd be really cool, or different bolts with it, that would be really cool, but like as is, crossbow is very solid. Eruptor, I would probably also put up in Super Earth's Finest. I do like the Eruptor a lot, even though I have killed myself plenty of times with it. That is a downside to the Eruptor. It hits like a truck, but it can throw shrapnel right back at you and you can die. It is pretty satisfying though. I do like a big anti-tank rifle that has explosive rounds. That's always going to be a cool thing to have in the game. And ever since the customization where you can put like the iron sights and the, I want to say vertical foregrip, the angled foregrip on it, it does feel pretty snappy to use. Besides that, if you don't have that, you can take like peak physique armor and it feels pretty good as well. Plasma Punisher is probably going to go to trusty tools for me, I think. I don't know. This one's kind of interesting because sometimes I really do like using this. It can be really nice for lobbing this, especially up over hills or up over building battlements, so that you can actually attack enemies on the other side. And it does have a decent amount of stagger to it. But it's also kind of awkward, and I usually forget that you reload the entire tube with this rather than reloading one round at a time since it's part of the Punisher family. Probably my least favorite of the Punishers to be using, but still pretty satisfying. Then we have the Blitzer. This one might make some people upset, but I think I just put the Blitzer up into C tier. I've never really been that big of a fan of the Blitzer. I've always found it's kind of awkward and kind of slow. It is strong, and having infinite ammo can be really good. Specifically on the bug front, it is a really good weapon. But it's just always felt kind of weird to me. It feels kind of like a shotgun, even though it doesn't really function like a shotgun. It still feels in that kind of role for me, and I really like taking something like the Punisher over something like this. Even though this can be potentially better, especially if you start running through ammo, or if you're fighting certain enemy types, it can be pretty good. I'm also a little bit disappointed in the customizations that you get for it, where it's just the sights, and that's pretty boring for a weapon like this. I wish I got some other options. So yeah, I'd probably put the Blitzer there. The sight I'd probably put up in the trusty tools too. This one, I've kind of come to like it a little bit more. It's still not one of my favorite weapons, but it can be really strong, especially on like bot missions, since you can just aim for the head at basically any range and just spray things. That is a really big bonus. but it's never felt super satisfying to me, since it's kind of just a laser pointer. You just hold it on something until it's dead. And if I'm going to do that, the laser cannon I feel like is a lot more satisfying. You get a lot more of a big beam there, and it's your special weapon. So if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to take that option. And even then, I don't really take that one too often, so yeah, probably right there. The sickle, I'd probably put up into the battle-tested beauties. One of my favorite assault rifles. It feels really good. It's basically always felt good since it came out. Like, the rate of fire on it's pretty good. It clears through most enemies pretty fast, and it can have infinite ammo. When it was bugged, it did have infinite ammo, and that made it actually pretty crazy. The double-edged sickle, I'd probably put up in the Super Earth's finest, though. I do like this one more, since it's basically the same as the sickle, but it can just keep ramping up in damage and ramping up in armor breaking, which does feel really nice. Take this with like fireproof armor, take it with the health booster, especially the heavy fireproof armor with the salamander stuff, and if you have a teammate with like a syringe gun that's just sitting right behind you, you just become an LMG. You can just burn through everything as you're also on fire 90% of the time, but it kills stuff really, really well. And then we have the Purifier. This one's going to be another Super Earth's finest. Purifier started out as probably the worst weapon they ever added to Helldivers, but then they buffed it significantly. And this one just feels fantastic. It feels similar to the Scorcher, just it's semi-auto, but you can charge it up and fire it out like a sniper rifle that also has explosive rounds, and it does bully stuff. It's just a really strong weapon in general against basically everything, and they actually gave it quite a few customizations that are pretty good too, so it has a lot going for it. Scorcher, I'd also probably put up in Super Earth's finest. I'm never really disappointed in the Scorcher other than the ammo. That's the only problem the Scorcher has, is you can run through ammo with it pretty fast, but it does kill things really quick. And the customization is pretty good. Like, this is just a fantastic weapon overall. Siege Ready does help it quite a bit, just with the extra magazine you get. Then we have the Variable. This was actually the very first weapon that I maxed out, and I'm going to put this one up into Super Earth's finest too. I love the Variable. It is such a fun weapon, where you can fling yourself, you can do massive damage to certain enemies, like you can instantly pop a Titan's belly, you can use this as an assault rifle, you can switch it to a shotgun, you can change the rate of fire when you want to use it as like an assault rifle. It just has so many options to it. It's definitely a love it or hate it weapon though, because it can be kind of awkward, especially if you don't really like swapping back and forth, similar to like how I talked about with the Halt, where that one is a little bit awkward, but this one is just, it's so cool, so I love it a lot. Torture for me personally is probably gonna go into like the C tier. The flamethrower is strong. The flamethrower weapons in general are strong, but this one isn't really my favorite, simply because you have like the secondary that can be a flamethrower or the special weapon. And if I'm taking the special weapon, I'm probably not going to be taking this as a primary. You could mix and match though. You could have a full fire loadout without this if you want to go with like the incendiary breaker, or you want to go with the cookout. Those are options too. I do wish this one would get other attachments as well, different tank sizes or different muzzle attachments. That would make it a whole lot better and a whole lot more interesting. Right now it's still strong, but I just don't find myself always being thrilled at taking it. And then finally we have the Jar 5 Dominator. This one I'd probably also put up into Super Earth's finest. It feels good. It's a big bolt gun that hits like a truck. Magazine reload is pretty good. The rate of fire is good. The only kind of annoying thing about the Dominator is that if you're standing next to somebody when they're firing the Dominator, it does kind of shake your screen too, and I don't really like that. I'm not sure why that's the case, especially since this thing has like almost the same stats as the Slugger, and that one doesn't bother your screen at all. I guess just because of like the jet ammo that it's supposed to be shooting, but even so, I wish that was kind of like taken out or only affected the person that was actually shooting it, not everybody else around it. And that's where I put all the primary weapons in terms of how much do I like them in Helldivers 2. So completely subjective list here. Tell me your thoughts. Which weapons are your favorite? Which weapons are your least favorite? We don't have a whole lot of like really bad weapons here. Even the ones in C tier, I'm usually not that disappointed in using. Yeah, the lowest ones I'm not the biggest fan of, but they can be okay too in certain situations. And again, with like random loadouts where I'm just swapping this like every mission, you kind of get used to just running whatever random stuff the generator gives you. So I'll be doing this with secondary weapons and special weapons as well. If you'd like to see the other stratagems, I can also do that. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye, everyone.